Hey everyone, Jake and Tevis here with Ticket Price Podcast. Just jumping in to let you know we're on Patreon. We finally did it. It took us longer than we thought. We're not very smart. But if you enjoy the show, check us out. $3 subscription cost. Can't beat that. With it, you're going to get early access to our episodes. You're going to get bonus content, as well as our community forum. Laugh, joke about the show, tell us how bad we are, share your favorite moments, but most importantly, give us recommendations for movies you want to hear us talk about. If we like it, we're going to do your movie. We're going to give you a shout out during the show as a thank you for giving us the idea. Thank you all for listening. Ticket Price Podcast at Patreon. Check us out. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whenever it is you're tuning in and joining us. Welcome to Ticket Price. We are on episode, what did we determine? 8?
Yes,
I believe
8.
episode 8.
The one previous was 7.
Ah, thank you.
Math? Numbers? Numerals?
I hate you so much sometimes. I hate everything you choose to be. No, we're looking at the Last Voyage of the Demeter.
I'm so excited.
You know, we'll cover our history of this movie real quick because it's brand new. Also, spoiler alert, obvious. We've yet to actually do a genuine spoiler alert because every movie we talk about is 40 years old, right? No, this movie came out, August?
Yeah,
month
and a half ago?
Yeah,
2 months?
something like that. So, spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert, heavy spoilers.
If you don't want heavy spoilers, listen later. But also, if you don't want heavy spoilers, why the hell did you click on a movie podcast talking about anything? Obviously, there are going to be spoilers. I hate spoiler alerts. People should know what they're getting into. What do they think this show is? Or any show, for that matter.
You can do a spoiler-free review, but that will not be us.
Well, because we're not really... we're kind of reviewing in our own demented way. My name is Jake. I am your co-host. Sitting across the way from me, co-host extraordinaire, Tevis.
Meh.
Meh. Now I'm laughing. I don't even know what my opening joke for this moment is.
You didn't write it down?
I don't write my jokes down. I like to just go off the cuff. So
Okay.
there's,
they're fresh.
real. They're in the
feel real.
moment. Yeah. Nope, I got nothing.
Okay.
We're just gonna Tevis at Master Control. He's a real sumbitch. Got it. Boom! Nailed it in the end. Master of the improv, star of the theater. Nailed it again.
I am going to insert the sound effects of after that joke.
I believe it's called a rim shot.
I don't know. I don't feel comfortable saying rim shot.
Oh, you're comfortable doing it, but not saying. I see how it is. All right. Let's do this. Okay, before we go, we're going to go a little out of order on this one. History of the movie. We'll start there because we have no history of this movie. But I'll tell you what, when I first saw the trailer for it, I got really excited because it's a vampire movie, but it's not just a vampire movie. It's a Dracula movie. And it's a real, this is hell yeah, this is what Dracula is supposed to be. It's isolated on a ship, so it's got that perfect, creepy, inescapable environment I like The Shining or The Thing. And you doing okay over there, Hoss?
I got this.
You were really working that microphone pole.
Yeah, it's waiting for its rim shot.
On Golden Pond. That got him.
You want a suck face?
You know, we reference our past episodes so frequently that if anyone were to stumble on this as their first, I strongly encourage you to also check out our previous episodes so you can understand half of the shit we talk about.
Yeah, you can't. I'm going to mention Breaking Bad, and I am no way saying we are on par with Breaking Bad. But if you broke into Breaking Bad in season 3, episode 2, you'd be like, "What the hell's going on?"
Saved it.
Same here.
So, you know, We are the Breaking Bad of podcasts. We're two middle-aged men. We're in our underwear. There's something cooking that smells weird in the other room, and we are on top of our game.
We're just the bad. There's no breaking.
I don't know, we break things all the time.
That's true.
Listen to The Shining. We broke the second microphone. So, what were your thoughts going into the trailer for this?
Man, when I saw the trailer for this, I immediately got excited about it because what you said about the whole being alone or trapped on a ship, nowhere to go, huge alien vibes for me.
Oh, yeah.
And I was excited to see a Dracula movie that was a serious take and not something like Renfield or Renfield. Did I say Rim? God,
Quit rimming, everyone.
The
It's
Rim was on my
Renfield.
mind. Not like Renfield, which I did watch and I enjoyed. And don't even get me started on the sparkling vampires because those don't exist.
Well, technically, none of these exist.
Yeah, they don't. They shouldn't exist.
Vampires aren't real.
Bullshit. They aren't.
Wait a minute, we're about F everything we were about to talk about. We are now talking about Tevis's belief in vampires.
I've been married twice. I know they exist.
That's a succubus, I think.
No, I'm totally kidding. But no, I was super excited because I was wanting a very hardcore, scary Dracula or just movie in general.
Mm-hmm.
And that trailer gave me those vibes.
Well, that's why we talked about how do we want to kick off the Halloween season, which we're not. Had we not just started the show, as far as not like today's episode, but if we had just not start, if we had had more time and more experience under our belt at this point, we would have extended our horror movies to all October, which obviously we haven't.
Poor planning on our part.
Stick around to the end of the show.
Yeah.
Find out
yeah.
more. We got something special planned. But you get what we didn't do something every week of October. It's like a horror. But we wanted to kick off the horror month with something new that we were both excited for, maybe something special for the show. And we went into this because saw that trailer. We knew we were going to watch it. We figured, what the hell? We'll just get together and watch it for the show. Obviously came out 2023. Written by Bragi Shutt Jr., based on Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Have you ever read that?
No, because it's daunting as hell.
Yeah, I have a copy.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Have you read it?
I read that chapter today.
How long is that chapter?
It's one chapter.
Thank you. Yes. When I said, how long is that chapter? And you went, chapter? Yes. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Mr. Math Machine over there.
Well, it goes from chapter 7 to chapter 8.
You really are just the worst,
I can't remember. I think it's like maybe 8 or 9 pages. It's not very long.
So sure, I get. So wait a minute. Let's answer my question. Short?
It's short. You're not kidding. It is a hard read. And I just read this chapter just prepare for this episode.
Well, what makes it a hard read? Is it like ye old English or
kind of
like old like classic Jules Verne stuff or
it's kind of, but it's mostly their logbooks.
Yeah.
Kind of like how the movie is narrated, but it's very vague on character names and it's just kind of hard to keep track of everything and it's kind of boring.
So going into this, I haven't read it, obviously, but I did a little homework going in. So I knew it was a shorter chapter, but I didn't know how short, but it's roughly the length of a chapter. Thank you, Tevis. The chapter is them reviewing the captain's logs of the Demeter. So it's not even like a narrative chapter. It's just kind of this interesting little tidbit. But essentially, I guess what I'm getting at is they have made a movie around this essentially forgotten piece of Dracula history. It's not even forgotten because it was never expanded on originally.
No, and I was really excited about that too. Like, that's cool to take just one aspect of something that could be really cool.
Yeah.
And build on it.
Written by Bragi Shutt Jr. And also, I'm going to apologize to everyone because I know I'm going to butcher these names. And you can join our Patreon forums to let me know how badly I've butchered these names. Also, Ticket Price Podcast on Patreon.
Yeah, I guess we should tell them.
Shameless self-promotion. Shameless. Starring Liam Cunningham, Corey Hawkins, directed by Andre Avradal. Also, especially the starring. You know why I picked Liam Cunningham and Corey Hawkins? Is it Carrie or Corey?
Sure.
Okay. You know why I picked these two names?
Because that's the only ones you could pronounce.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm looking at these names going, damn. Give an uneducated guy a break. I guess we got to just rip this Band-Aid off and go into it. Ratings. IMDb, 6.2 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, 48%.
Oh.
Budget, estimated $45 million. Worldwide gross, 21.2 million.
Dang.
This is our first movie on the podcast to not make money.
That is terrible.
This is also officially the new lowest rated or lowest reviewed movie on the show of all time thus far. It far and away beats everything else we've covered.
That makes me super excited to watch this.
Right? When you're doing your research and you're like, oh man, I'm super excited for this movie. Oh no.
Yeah, it's bad when there's one or two bad reviews, but then you get multiple and it's like, oh. And I'm not a huge believer in Rotten Tomatoes, but sometimes after you watch the movie, then you're like, oh, they were not wrong.
Yeah, and also I look at reviews for games, movies, whatever sometimes. But a lot of times I don't look at too many because more often than not, I find myself usually disagreeing with the reviewer anyway. I don't know why that seems to be the case for me. But a lot of times someone's like, oh, this is bad. I'm like, no, I enjoyed it. I don't think it was bad, So I don't put a ton of stock into it anyway. But still, when you're seeing this many reviews, this low, the movie made half of its budget back,
and it was available to rent quick.
Yeah.
It was in the theater an hour ago. And then we rented it and watched it.
Now, the reviews are what they are, but going into the worldwide gross, the theater money, this is our first modern, recent movie. This is certainly the first post-pandemic movie. And compared to theater-going audiences from the movies we've done in the past, things have changed as far as going to the movies and all of that goes. Do you think that plays a part in this, or no one went to see this movie?
Well, I guess I would say that maybe that plays a part in it, but God, I almost said Tom Hanks. That's why I stuttered. Tom Cruise proved that wrong with Maverick. That movie banked.
Avatar 2.
Avatar 2. Yeah. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I just think this was a bad movie, and I just don't think anybody's interested in Dracula anymore because even Renfield,
blah, 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 blah.
Even Renfield tanked. I mean,
yeah, but I saw the trailer for Renfield. I went, this movie looks like it sucks.
It was enjoyable. I had a good time watching it, but I just don't think Dracula as a character is relevant anymore. And that's kind of sucks.
Yeah. And how much of that is, well, because when was the last time we actually had a Dracula piece of media? Not a vampire media, Dracula. I don't know. Renfield,
Gary Oldman was the last one.
Which one was he in?
Bram Stoker's Dracula
with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that was the last one. And I mean, because they did try to do that Universal Monsters reboot.
Oh, well, I'm sure we'll get into that mummy.
Yeah.
I want to do the good mummy sometime with Brendan Fraser.
Yes, we need to. That'd be a good one.
Benny.
Hey, O'Connor. Looks like I got all the horses.
Hey, Benny, looks like you're on the wrong side of the river. Yeah, when did we get to do that?
Oh shit! Let's do that now.
Welcome to Ticket Price. Today we're reviewing The Mummy.
Yeah, but I just think that all the Universal monsters are just not marketable anymore.
I agree to a point because they're not marketable right now because like no one cares because we haven't been made to care, right? They could be marketable again with the right update, modernize their tales, but also at the same time then deliver a quality product.
Yeah, and that in the end, that's the main thing is
Right.
deliver something that's good.
But then, especially when you look at where, for me as a bitter old man, when you look at where vampires, werewolves, Frankenstein's monster creature, where you look at these old monsters and how their ideas have progressed through media, whether through lackluster concepts to twinkling lights based off of erotic fan fiction to, whatever. And it's like, yeah, you wanna know why these are dull as hell? Because the movie culture around them is dull as hell.
Yeah, I agree. Like, what's the last vampire movie that you watched that you thoroughly enjoyed?
TBD.
I've not watched that.
No, if you're asking like, but if I were to think about it, because I've never seen Bram Stoker's Dracula, haven't seen it. Not a big Keanu guy.
What?
Dude. Whoa.
Yeah, he was not.
Killed my dog.
He was not cast well in that movie.
Shocker. I don't think I've seen a single movie with a vampire and I'm like, hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. No, it's yet to happen. And even as we're talking about this movie, it has yet to happen. You've already called this movie bad, so
Yes, yes, I did. The last vampire movie that I thoroughly enjoyed is The Lost Boys.
never saw it.
Oh my god.
Okay, so we've talked about this before when things get overhyped to the point that it's off-putting. When The Lost Boys came out, same with The Crow. I lump all this shit together. So many of my friends were just like, oh man, you got seeing the stuff, the vampires, whatever. And I'm just going, guys, you're killing this movie and I've never seen it just out of, I don't want to see it. I'm sure we will watch it at some point.
Oh yeah, we're pulling that out of the hat. Even if I have to put nothing but Lost Boys in that.
You're going to rig the hat.
Yep.
And then I'm going to reach in and accidentally rip out the tag that has the hat size on it. We're watching 13 7/8. I don't know what that is. Is that a big hat? Is that small? I don't know.
I don't know hat sizes either.
Okay, awards? None. This is the only film we've done without a single award win or nomination, including Razzies.
Is the Razzie still around?
I think.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure too. I have no idea. I'm talking out my ass.
Okay. Everything we just said. Our friends at the still deceased ebert.com. Movie works enough so the the movie works enough so the flaws don't hurt things too badly. 3.5 stars.
Is that out of 10?
No, I don't believe their scale does 10. Is it 4 or 5?
Based off of this review, it should be 20. Like, what the hell are they talking about? And if you didn't catch the beginning of that sentence, that was me being blown away by their shitty review score.
All right, the Verge didn't actually give it a numerical score, but one of their takeaways is just isn't scary enough to live up to Dracula's legacy. And I thought that was an apt takeaway.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's not even enough. It's just not scary. Just, you don't even need to put enough.
Yeah.
It was not scary.
We've talked about it before. I don't do horror movies. Not my genre. I typically don't enjoy them. I'm a bit of a pussy. And I sweat real bad when I start to get like tense or nervous or scared. And then I get real clammy. And then my wife is like, "Why are you so clammy?" And I'm like, "Leave me alone. Why are you talking to me?" Right? I don't handle these things well. And nothing.
Nothing.
I had nothing. And that's how I know a movie isn't scary. If I don't react, even like physically, if I don't have a physical reaction, it is not a scary movie. Because I will just start to sweat and I get real tense. And then everyone around me is like, "The hell is wrong with this guy?"
Sweating really bad.
Yeah, I look like Palmer right before he transforms in The Thing. And everyone's like, "The hell is wrong with this guy?" No, I had nothing. Kept cool as a cucumber the whole time. And that's a bad sign for a horror movie.
Not only was I not scared by any of it, not shocked by any of it, I was kind of bored because I had no feelings for any of the characters, even the damn dog.
Well, okay. Can I pause you there for a second?
Sure.
Can we get on this trope of I'm supposed to automatically give a shit about the animal in the movie? Dog, cat, horse, whatever. And everyone's like, "If the dog dies, we riot and fucking whatever." I do not know this dog. I have no emotional attachment to this dog. I don't want to see the dog hurt. I'm not a sadist, but I don't actually care about this dog. Spoilers, the dog dies. I do not care about this dog. It's not Lassie. It didn't just pull little Timmy from the well. I don't give a shit. It's not Rin Tin Tin. It didn't stop the train or anything. I don't care about this dog.
The dog did nothing. Like, the only reason the dog was there was to bark.
And a couple people were like, "Oh, it's a good boy." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. It's a dog."
Yeah. Like, what did it do to show us that it's a good boy?
This is where I would normally go on and just this whole trope, though, that this cheap emotional response filmmakers are trying to get from their audience by having a dog or a cat in the movie, and then the dog and the cat live or die. Because the whole thing is like, "I didn't know there was going to be a dog in this movie. Well, if the dog dies, I'm going to burn the seat down and I'll kill everyone in this room," right? No, I don't care. What a terrible trope filmmakers keep pushing on us. I do not give a shit about your pets. Not my pets. I have pets. If it was my dog on the ship, I would give a shit. It's not. Ellie and Piper are nowhere near Dracula. I don't give a shit. To be fair, there is a contextual reason as to why the ship had a black dog. Do you know the history of the Demeter?
I do not.
So, the Demeter, as you read in your book, the one chapter.
Yeah.
That's roughly the length of a chapter. Bram Stoker actually took the idea for the Demeter. It was inspired by a true ghost ship.
Really?
I forget the name of the ship. I should have wrote it down, but I didn't because I'm not good at this. But essentially, there was a real ship that crashed along the breakers. When they found it, there was a sole survivor. He was raving mad. And all they could get out of him is that something killed and ate everyone, and something about a black dog. That's it. And so Bram took this story and in his own way incorporated the idea of it into Dracula. So if I want to be fair, there is a chance that the dog's overall inclusion is an homage to that original actual story and not just a cheap filmmaking trope. But if I had to put money on it, it's a cheap filmmaking trope about a dog I do not give a shit about. Tell me how much you don't care about the dog.
Was there anybody on the ship that you gave a shit about?
As a father, I like Toby, the boy. But I find that since I became a parent, I find myself just naturally inclined to be protective towards kids. Like, since having daughters, watching it hits so much fucking harder than it used to, right? Yeah. And so like, but Toby was cool. He was a fun character. He's with his grandpa and he's sailing the high seas and he's going on adventures and he's just trying to be the best sailor he can. Like, he was just a good-spirited character. The captain was cool, but the captain was played by Liam Cunningham, and I would listen to him read a phone book.
Yes,
his voice is amazing.
He is amazing. I love that actor. As far as a character, he was
Milquetoast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was just kind of there.
And that's true for a lot of the characters. They're
Yeah.
just kind of any of the characters like Vorchek more so than some of the others, but we get introduced to the crew of the Demeter, and they're a motley bunch. They all are seemingly interesting, but we're never actually given any time with them to see if they really are. You know what I mean? So it's like you have these characters that could be interesting and get your audience involved, but we don't get to spend enough time with them.
Yeah, and even when we do get to spend time with like the captain, and he talks about he's going to give the ship to Vorchek or Vortex or whatever his name was, because he's 7 days to retirement. The Roger Murtaugh of this movie.
Wait. We would like to take this moment to give Liam Cunningham as the ship captain of the Demeter the Roger Murtaugh Award for being too old for this shit and trying to retire.
He should have at the end of that when he's about to bite it. Just be like, I'm too old for this shit.
Tell him I was true. Tell him I did my duty. Tell him I was too old for this shit. Dies.
He literally says, I'm just going to retire after this. And it's like, what, a week voyage?
Yeah, it's a week voyage. It's like, I'm going to retire. This is my last trip. And you go, oh, you're super dead.
Yeah, you shouldn't have said nothing.
I already know you're going to die.
But even that moment, even the moments we get with him, and he talks about his grandkid and his daughter or whatever, and I'm just like,
right.
You're fine. He's fine.
He's totally fine. That's the thing. We never get enough time with these characters. They're pretty one-dimensional, except for the doctor, whose name I don't have written down, played by Mr. Hawkins.
Clemens,
Dr. Clemens. He's interesting, but they kind of force a racial subplot into this. We've jumped way ahead of ourselves. You got something on your mind, go into your racial subplot, but then let's hit rewind on this movie for a second.
There was a few mentions of it, and I think, and it's sad to say, that if you have that character on that ship in that time, there would be things said. So I don't think they could have avoided it. They could have avoided it, and it would have been okay, but I just think as writers are like, oh, we have a black man on a ship on blah blah blah. We better have some sort of racial tension because it would be there. It wasn't needed.
It didn't serve the plot in any way.
No.
Given the era the film is in, I guess there would be. But, it's odd when you look at history, especially in terms of racism as we think of it in the modern era, because it's not as clear-cut on its genuine existence once you go back so far. And so then you get into this question of like, well, for modern audiences, they're doing this racial, subplot, but historically, would it have actually existed, right? But given the era of this movie, I think you're right. There probably would have been something, at least as far as some of the characters, probably so. That's a whole other discussion for another time.
Yeah, and like I said, it could have been fine just not even being a part of it, and it wouldn't have been missed.
Right, because it didn't serve any greater purpose.
No.
But let's take a step back, because we are all over the place as far as this movie. Movie opens up, they see the ship crashed up on the breakers, they're going down, and the constables are checking for survivors. And they find one of the officers, he's all shooken up, he's holding a book, and he's like, son, what's wrong? And he's like, I was on the ship to look for survivors, and he's clearly just like in horror from what he saw on the ship. But then his captain, or whoever that guy, the head constable, takes the journal and starts reading it, and we get Liam Cunningham narrating, which is amazing again. Yes. But all I could think is, this asshole is reading the captain's log in the middle of the rain, a hand-written quill and ink journal in the middle of the goddamn rain. That all those pages worthless now. Thank you, sir. Worthless.
He's like, oh, look, this is all destroyed. Well, Goddamn.
Now I know
Move
why.
on.
I don't know why these evidence-destroying assholes didn't find Jack the Ripper. Police investigation like this, damn. But then it kind of goes to a flashback to the Demeter taking off from Romania. And that's, well, I say flashback. The movie jumps back to the Demeter leaving Romania. And that's where it really starts.
Yeah, they're loading the
Crates from the
onto
private patron.
from the private patron that we don't know who it is onto the ship.
These Romani gypsy looking motherfuckers drop it off and they're like, hey, help us load these boats like you agreed to. And they went, nah. Nope, gotta go.
Nope, I'm good. Here's your money back.
Yeah, they gave them more than their
Yeah.
money back. And they were like, oh, goodbye. Those assholes say. And there's like, he said, good luck.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was cool. I
Yeah.
thought that was a nice touch because, again, everyone knows what this movie is about. No one's hiding what this movie is. You know, and so I think in that aspect, I kind of enjoyed it. Like, there's no sense in playing dumb with your audience. Oh, you think you're watching a Dracula movie, but maybe it's not. You know, no, it's like we all know what this is. Let's lean into it.
Yeah, it's not any super mystery going on here.
Right.
It's not what's the movie with George Clooney where the vampires
Oh, From Dusk Till Dawn.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
You think you're watching a hostage movie and all of a sudden it switches gears like super quick.
Yeah. And then you just go, what
the hell am I watching?
So now we've got all the cargo loaded up and the Demeter sets sail.
Well, the kid almost gets squashed.
Yes. Honestly, hindsight being what it is, probably would have been best. Given what happens to Toby, probably would have been better if he had just gotten crushed and died.
That's in my notes.
Oh, is it?
Should he have let the kid get squashed? For one, he wouldn't have been on the boat, Clemens, because Clemens saves him.
Right.
Because Clemens gets turned down to be on the boat.
Because he's a black man.
A smart black man.
Oh.
But then he saves the kid, and they're all like, "Oh, okay, well, we're short one because we fired that idiot that dropped the crate, so you're on board."
Well, they didn't fire him. He
quit. Oh, that's right.
Because he saw that the crates they were loading were marked with a dragon emblem.
That's
and that
right.
freaked him. He started screaming about the devil serpent, and that was it. He was out.
So yeah, now we're in the water.
We are in the water. And then somewhere along, seas get rough. They're not very good at stowing cargo. One of the boxes break open. A bunch of dirt spills out, and a young woman. I hate it when young women spill out of my cargo hold.
Does that happen to you a lot, does it?
That's more than I pay for. I need better ship hands.
Yeah, apparently. So I'm assuming Dracula was still locked up in his crate at this time. I can't recall if he is out roaming the boat.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, I didn't think so.
Well, it's possible that he's been roaming, but from his box to her box. Because her box. Heard it when I said it. I was trying to move past it, and you're giggling like a child over there. I said her box, which is a euphemism for her vagina.
I was trying to be discreet because yes,
you failed. I am miserably.
I'm 12.
So, but I think the whole thing is he brought her along as a feed bag.
Yeah, a snack. Midnight snack.
Yeah. And so I think he was going from where, his resting place to her resting place and then feeding on her as needed and then going back to sleep. So theoretically, had she never fallen out of her box or they had never tried to help her and basically put her in an area where Dracula couldn't really get to her, there's a chance none of this movie would have ever happened.
He'd have just been going back and forth to his pantry.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
They would have made it to wherever they were going, London.
Which I'm not really sure how that makes me feel, if I'm being honest.
What do you mean?
Why would he bring a snack? That's weird.
Well, there were multiple crates, correct?
Yeah. And
weren't some of them all just filled with dirt?
Yeah, so if we jump ahead, Clemens and Anna, the young woman, he treats her wounds and everything, gets her strong, and she kind of helps him out. And they start going through the private crates, the ones with the dragon markings. And they're these huge crates just full of dirt.
I don't get that.
I don't get that at all. That whatever that was supposed to be is so lost on me because they're searching them. They don't find other bodies. Like it's like there's not like there's other people.
Well, it's a good thing because he opens that crate and sees that there's dirt and then shoves like that
Crowbar.
staff or yeah, it was like crowbar. Shoves it in there.
Shoves the staff in the crowbar.
The staff
you-
of Raw. But he shoves that crowbar in there. And I'm
Remind
like,
me not to build anything with you. What's the scepter do? It's a hammer. What are you doing?
look at this wand. Give me the damn screwdriver, you asshole. But yeah, he's just digging around and just shoving that crowbar in there. I'm like, well, it's a good thing there's nobody there. You would have pierced them.
So then it's just going, why is there just a crate of dirt? Why is Dracula bringing a bunch of dirt with him?
Maybe he's getting into gardening. I don't know.
England has dirt.
Maybe there's better Romanian dirt. I don't know.
Or part of me was like, maybe it was like the whole thing was just to make sure that his crate and Anna's crate would be lost in a bunch of meaningless crates. You know what I mean? So it's harder to find if somebody were to try to go looking.
Yeah, maybe.
But you know what
It
would
just-
make that irrelevant if they went, shit's going down. We're going to dump all this cursed cargo into the goddamn ocean. Then it wouldn't matter. The copious amounts of dirt-filled crates, I have no idea why that's a thing. I don't know why Anna's crate was full of dirt.
Well, didn't she say that when he would feed on her, he would like put her back in the dirt and the wounds would fill with dirt and like heal up?
No, the dirt became part of her. The dirt didn't heal. It wasn't magic.
Well, no,
dirt.
it didn't heal her, but it.
But she talks about how empty she felt because every time he feeds, he was taking away from her, and then the open wound would get dirt in it. So it's like her life essence was just being replaced by dirt. So it was just kind of like this whole analogy of her being emptied and filled with nothing, and she was just getting closer and closer to the grave.
Yeah, that whole part was lost
Meaningless?
on me, and
Yeah.
kind of if they had a meaning, they didn't do a very good job of explaining it.
Yeah, I would say that's true. Oh, okay. So we've kind of touched on it. They find Anna, and all the crewmen are like, women on board are bad luck. Stow away, dump her ass overboard, be done with it. Neither here nor there, but just, I was like, okay, guys.
A little harsh.
Not just go to port. I don't know.
Well, they didn't want to stop because they were to get a bonus.
Yeah, for
Remember?
speedy delivery.
Yeah,
Like pizzas.
like FedEx. Like
Yeah.
Prime. This is Prime delivery.
They paid for overnight, damn it. Clemens is like, oh, she's weak. She needs blood. And then uses his own blood to do a transfusion. Multiple transfusions over
multiple
the course of
times.
the movie. And my note on this is blood transfusions without knowing blood type in any way, shape, or form. Ballsy.
Hey, he's smart. He
Because
went.
he had just unless he knew, unless at this period in time they knew blood types existed, which maybe they did. My knowledge of medical history is next to nothing, right? Maybe they did know about blood types. I don't know. I don't think they did though. But if they did, then we should have gotten some kind of snippet about him knowing he's a universal donor or something, like they did in Mad Max Fury Road. They took the care in Mad Max Fury Road to make that sure that was in the script to explain why the hell they kept him alive,
That's true.
right? So, but no, he's just like, F it, blood transfusion. You need blood? Here,
Yeah,
go.
here we go. We got plenty.
You need blood? Get over here, boy. And I'm just sticking
like
people in their veins.
Oprah giving away.
Everyone gets blood transfusions. So no, blood transfusions without knowing blood type. That's ballsy because he had equal chance to either save her or throw her into horrendous convulsions that would have definitely killed her.
But he didn't he go to Berkeley?
Cambridge.
I don't know.
Cambridge.
He said a school, and I'm just like, okay, cool.
Words. He said words. I wasn't watching the movie. I don't know.
I had a mouthful of popcorn.
With Anna gone, Dracula unable to feed, he has to take it into his own hands and survive how he has to. So he first feeds on all the animals in the cargo hold that were going to be slaughtered and used for food on the journey.
Yeah, isn't this when we first get the very first jump scare? I'm using air quotes.
with the spyglass.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was so lame
Yeah.
and
Predictable.
predictable.
So one of the characters named Olgarin,
Ogarin, yeah.
Olgarin, something like that.
He's the only one I actually gave a half a shit about.
But he's the one we got the most time with.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. For people to care about your characters, we need to get a little bit of time to be invested with them, right? The dog gets killed. We saw the dog like twice. I don't give a shit about the
Yeah.
dog. But give us time with your characters, we care. Olgarin we get a bunch of time with. So he's an interesting character. He's clearly an experienced seaman. Nothing.
Yes, yeah.
Her box got you, seaman. Nothing.
I'm not a child.
I'm glad we had this moment of personal growth for you.
Thanks. I'm growing.
But he's looking out into the darkness of night, into the fog. He's got his telescope out.
Telescope?
Spyglass?
You wrote a book
Yeah.
about pirates.
Telescope.
Isn't it a telescope? Isn't telescope big? Like the big
Well, that is a telescope, yes.
is it so it is a
But
telescope.
when somebody buys those like little desk-sized ones, that's still a telescope. But it's a telescope. Or a spyglass. Would you like me to say periscope?
Periscope, yes, it's a periscope. It's
The
that
periscope.
thing. It's that thing Indy rode all the way to an island.
Man, if they had submerged, he'd have been so effed. But God, that movie sucks. If you don't know what we're talking about,
your whore
listen to our episode on Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark. That movie's a straight turd and needs to stay locked up in that government vault with the Ark. But no, so he's looking around. It's dark. It's fog. He can't see anything. He's also like just spinning. Like at one point, the way he's looking around at shit, I'm like, no one looks around at things in a spy because he looks into it and then just starts scanning the horizon in like a 360. And I'm like, no, because you have to take it down, look with your actual eyes to get a general idea of where you're looking, what you're trying to see. Telescope comes up, spyglass, periscope for some of us, right? And then you can try to pinpoint more accurately. No, he's just asshole spinning like a top, looking at everything.
As soon as I seen him spin around, he starts to move. I'm like, he's gonna see.
He's gonna get a glimpse.
I'm like, God, no.
And also, okay, I realize the Demeter is a decent sized ship, right?
Right.
But he's on one side of the deck. Dracula's on the other side of the deck.
It's a pretty shitty periscope.
His periscope zooms in, and Dracula's face fills the lens perfectly. That should have been so zoomed into his nose or his weird teeth or whatever.
One tooth.
Yeah, it would have been so zoomed in. It would have been like, God damn, Dracula drinks too much milk. Look at his pores. Got the biggest pores I've ever seen. What is this?
Looks like a sponge.
But no, his Dracula's face fills it perfectly, and you see Dracula smile. Olgarin drops the instrument, looks with his eyes. Dracula's gone, and he's just like, "Yep." Just what would have caught me off guard? Olgarin pulls this shit down, and Dracula.
I was expecting that.
If he had just been standing there, just middle finger up, like, "Gotcha, bitch," that would have got me.
I hear Dave Chappelle in my head.
Yeah, gotcha, bitch. Gotcha, bitch. 100%. Dave Chappelle starring as Dracula in Last Voyage of Demeter.
It had the same haircut.
But once that first air quote scare happens, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, I knew from then. I was like, it's no. And was this movie like super dark for you?
Yeah.
I could not see shit.
I think some of that was intentional.
Yeah, but I mean,
during the dark and the fog, and
I understand about, you kind of got to make a sense of dread and, mystery in the air. You don't see him very well, but my God, I mean, it was through the entire movie on almost every scene. I had a hard time seeing any of the action.
Well, good. There wasn't much of it.
That's true.
So Dracula feeds on the animals to get his strength. The dog is there. We get a prolonged scene of the dog getting it, which again is just there as a cheap emotional pop, which doesn't do anything for me because I do not know this dog. I do not care. Filmmakers, we don't care. Anywho, and he starts to get his strength back, and now he's strong enough to start feeding on the crew. Dracula's got enough strength back to go hunting. Now, can I point something out? I noticed with the animals.
I
and
hope you can, because would be a pretty dull podcast.
Why is Dracula so bad at feeding?
What do you mean? Expand.
Oh, with pleasure. Sound like my wife. Okay, expand. I'm trying. It doesn't help with so much pressure. God.
Who knew there'd be so many sex jokes in this episode?
Well, we were talking about her box and,
Semen?
semen. Still got nothing.
No.
I can't believe that. Not even a titter. Nothing. Dracula, as my understanding from like the original source material, fangs go in and he drinks from there.
Right.
But the whole idea behind it, it's very discreet, almost impossible to notice unless you're looking for it. Dracula in this movie takes a bite out of your goddamn neck like a zombie, and it just leaves this massive gaping wound. And then blood's flowing everywhere, and he's lapping it up like a dog at the water bowl. And just shit spilling everywhere, and he's able to feed on these people one time because he rips their goddamn jugular out.
The only explanation I have for that, well, actually, I have two. The first one I thought of was maybe it's because he was so weak that he was trying to get everything he could. So that's why he's just ripping it and, doing it as fast as he can.
A starving man at a buffet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the other part of me was like, he's on this ship. He's not like he's in the town where he has to be a little bit discreet.
Mm-hmm.
He's on this ship, and he knows he can take any of these guys anytime he wants. There's nobody around to even. He's not making a home here.
Right.
So he's just like, screw it. I'm just gonna rip the hell out of these guys, drink as much as I can, and I don't have to worry about hiding the body. Don't have to worry about hiding the marks. He's like, I don't care.
I like both of those. I like both of those answers. Unfortunately, I don't think either one was used or thought of during the making of this movie.
I don't think there was a lot thought of in the making of this movie.
But no, I do like your defense. Like I like either explanation. I don't think I'm not arguing your answers. I'm arguing that your answers, neither one were used or thought of.
No, it would have been nice to have some sort of remark made. Like the woman, what her name was, Anna.
Yeah. Who's covered. Oh, okay. Question. He's feeding on Anna long term. Her body, as we see at one point, is covered in these full ass bite mark scars. Her body is covered, and there's like on her neck, on her back, on her upper arm. Like Dracula took a full zombie-esque bite out of her flesh and then lapped the blood from the wound. And I'm like, this isn't what Dracula does. If you were going to have Dracula, like, kill someone while doing it, then fuck it. He takes the bite and then just drains everything. And then we see them get emaciated and die. Something to that effect. Not he takes a bite, he drinks a little bit, and then leaves a body on the ground with all the food essence that he needs, the blood, just to spill out all over the deck like an asshole. Why is he so bad at feeding? And my first thought was, I've got it in my notes, this motherfucker eats like Pennywise. You know why Pennywise has to eat so many goddamn kids? Because he's bad at eating. Look at all the kids in this goddamn sewer home. It's like, oh yeah, that kid's like an arm is missing. Eat the rest of him. You don't have to take 6 more kids. Finish your food, you dick. Eat your leftovers. His mom never was like, it's leftover night, boys. Eat your food. Why is he so bad at it?
Yeah, well, they taste better. Different thing. Different kids taste different ways, apparently. I don't know.
Eat your food. I don't care. You know why Derry doesn't have any kids? Because Pennywise is shit at what he does. So is Dracula, I guess. Like, he eats, it's bad.
Yeah, there should have been some sort of explanation. Because Anna could have said, it just a quick one sentence taking care of all that.
Yeah.
And was she...
But she's also covered in these big stupid bite marks.
Yeah, and...
Because Dracula's bad at eating.
You mentioned something while we were watching this about... Because we did watch this together. about the boat knocking.
Yeah.
What was your? Why did you like the boat knocking so much?
Thing in the movie is if the guy keeping watch at night needs, and this is even before Dracula wakes up and goes on his really bad eating rampage, they knock on the wood and the sound carries throughout the ship and it alerts whoever is going to assist that they need help. I thought that was cool. It's a cool mechanic because I don't actually know if ships work that way, like old wooden vessels like that. But if it does, that from a technical standpoint, that's cool. But as a horror movie idea, now we have this ominous, eerie knocking built into the story that then is maybe we're following character A and character B is knocking desperately because he's being hunted and needs help. But we as the audience and character A don't know that's what's going on. We only hear knocking. I'm like, that's weird. What's all this knocking? And then we go investigate. Oh, this guy's dead. Right? That could be cool. Or they do it in the movie a little bit where Dracula knows this is kind of their SOS to the other guys to let them know they need help. And he messes with them. Right? And he does the knocking, although the best use of the knocking is at the very end. It's a little too late. But the idea was now we have a built-in tool. We have a sound cue that can instantly build tension in the movie, like the sound, like the music in Jaws. And that's how you know the shark is there. And now we have this built-in cue, and it's cool. It's unique because no other movie does anything like it. Because what other horror movie has this awesome setting? We say in whatever we want about the movie, the setting is fantastic.
Oh yeah, the setting is the best part about the whole movie.
Yeah, so now we have a great setting with a built-in unique mechanic that could be used for in so many ways to propel the story, to crank the fear up. Unfortunately, none of that happens. But when the concept was introduced, I remember remarking to you that I liked that because in my mind just started lighting up with possibilities of how we could use this in the movie.
The only time I recall it coming back effectively was at the end in the bar.
Yes.
Where Dracula is
although
knocking.
Toby does it effectively. He's locked in the captain's quarters. He's trying to get everyone, so he gets like a stick or a pipe or some kind of rod, and he starts beating the shit out of that support beam to let the whole ship know, uh-oh. And they all come rushing to him.
That's right. That was Olgarin, right?
Yeah, when Olgarin was going for him. And then there was another moment where one guy on the ship was knocking. This is after, so this third example, they know Dracula's hunting. Or they know something is killing people. 2 men to the watch. One's on one end of the ship, one's on the other. They're so far apart. Why the hell do you have 2 people watching when they're that separated? It doesn't matter. But all of a sudden there's a knocking, and the 2 guys meet in the middle because they're like, why are you knocking? I wasn't knocking. Why were you knocking? And then Dracula gets them both. And so we kind of get, like, there was a teaser of how good that could have been, the mechanic of the knocking on the ship, but it didn't pan out. It didn't pan out.
My favorite character was Olgarin.
Yeah.
So when he gets bit and then, shakes and starts convulsing and doing all his thing and then turns into
and they tie him down.
They tie him down, but then he breaks free and turns into this zombie-like character.
And that's the thing, because like all of a sudden his eyes are completely milk white and he's kind of shambling around, and I was like, man, is he like a Renfield like servant to Dracula now? Which is what I initially thought. He is now a servant. He is now enthralled by Dracula's powers. Or is he infected and he became a vampire himself? Like, what? I didn't know what was going on at first.
Yeah, and they didn't really tell us at all what was going on until that very end.
And I was fine with that. Is a perfect example of keeping your audience in the dark until the reveal.
Yes, and that was by far my favorite part of the entire movie. When he's going after Toby.
So when you say that, Olgarin has turned. They've got him tied up. Toby, the little boy, is kind of kept below deck. He's half keeping an eye on old Garen. He's also just they're trying to keep him safe. And he's in the captain's quarters. He hears a noise, goes to investigate. Infected Olgarin hulked out of his rope binding. And that's when Toby's like, Olgarin, you're okay. I'm so glad to see you. Are you okay? And then infected Olgarin went, basically looked at Toby and was like, oh, I can eat you, right? And then that's when the hunt was on, as Olgarin starts chasing Toby around the below deck. Scariest part of the whole movie.
Yeah, and but he grabs Toby and he pulls him. Like, what is he doing? Like, is he gonna eat the kid? Like, why not just eat him right there? But he grabs him and he pulls him, and then he gets free. He chases him into the captain's quarters. Toby locks the door, grabs a little knife.
We get our Shining homage.
Yeah, when he headbutts the door and Olgarin breaks through with his head, and here's Johnny.
Yeah, it is a perfect "Here's Johnny" moment, which is 100% is what they were going for.
And they have the "Here's Johnny" moment, and Toby's there shaking with the knife, just like Wendy.
Yeah. Now, can I say that this homage, this, and I don't think they're trying to replicate the Shining moment. I think it's an homage to the Shining moment. It's more of a tribute paying.
Sure,
I think, and this one worked for me because I've never seen the crazy person or the monster or the whatever in these moments bust through a door with his goddamn face. It's amazing. So Olgarin, like, Toby locks himself in the captain's quarters. Monster Olgarin can't get to him, so he's like, oh, I need to battering ram this door open. So I'm going to headbutt through it, and he's clearly smashing every bone and piece of cartilage in his face.
Yeah, you can see it. You can hear it.
Yeah.
And I love it.
It's real gruesome.
It is really gruesome.
And he literally headbutts his way through the panel of that door.
Yeah, and isn't that when the captain and everybody else shows up?
Correct.
And then Olgarin, they grabs another one and throws him or whatever.
A little bit of a scuffle ensues, and they eventually restrain him.
Yeah, and that whole part, I'm like, what is he trying to accomplish? Is he trying to feed? Is he trying to bring one of these people back to Dracula? Is he trying to? Because if he's trying to feed for himself, just take a bite out of the fucking kid. Don't drag him across the floor.
Or attempt to bite
somebody.
One of the guys restraining you.
Somebody.
Because we know that according to the Last Voyage of the Demeter, the bite doesn't have to be on the neck. It can be on anywhere on the body.
Yeah.
Anna is living proof of that because her bite marks are top down, like head to toe. She's covered in bite mark scars. And also, they're full bite marks, not the fang marks, but I'm not going to get into that again, even though it does piss me off. But yeah, so Olgarin's motivations are murky at best, very unclear.
But he does a good job of distracting maybe the crew.
And that's the thing. Maybe that was his...
I don't know.
I still think he was being controlled. I believe he was a servant to Dracula in that moment. Personally.
Because Dracula got what he wanted.
Think about it. Toby's locked in the room or whatever. He hears a noise. He opens the door, goes to investigate, sees his friend, realizes, uh-oh, something's wrong. They have their chase scene or whatever. Olgarin chases him back to the captain's quarters where Toby relocks the door. In the time he's away, as we find out, Dracula is hiding in the captain's quarters. And I think we just puzzled this out.
I think we did. Yes.
I think thinking out loud, we puzzled this out. Now, best shot in the whole movie is coming up. The camera is outside the captain's quarters from the vantage of the captain and, what's his name?
Boat guy.
Coming. What's his name?
Clemens.
Clemens. I think it's singular. I think it's Clemens.
I think it is Clemens.
But we and the surviving crew were outside the door, looking in through the square panel that Olgarin headbutted open. And you hear Toby scream. He runs by the room across the panel, and then Dracula, just full profile, just stalks by after him. And I loved that moment. what a feeling of helplessness. Because what can we do? What can anyone do?
Exactly what they did. Nothing.
Everyone just went, "Oh my god!" And then we see it, and Dracula feeds on young Toby.
Yeah, he picks him up. The music is swelling.
Gets
We're
him from
s-
behind
we're
too, doesn't he?
supposed- yeah,
Toby's looking the other way.
We're supposed to feel something, and he bites him, and then you just see the life running out of him, and
Yeah.
meh.
Now we
It's
talked
Toby.
about this since becoming a parent. Stuff like that hits me a little harder, but like this didn't. Not really. Now the Toby, when the reveal of Toby's hiding in the room, and then you see Dracula emerge from his hidey hole, and then it cuts to that camera shot I was just talking about where they're outside. Toby runs by Dracula stuff. I loved that. That was tense as hell.
Yeah,
and I
that was
loved
cool.
it. I was like, where was this tension the
Yeah.
rest of the movie?
Yeah, and I think that was it.
That was it. That was the only time I felt something.
Okay, I'll take that back. The only other time was Olgarin when he's tied to the mast.
Yeah, so they got him restrained. Toby's been bit. Dracula doesn't kill him, though.
No.
Dracula escapes somehow. They get the door open and they get to Toby. And they're trying their best to administer medicine and treatment to him. And in the meantime, while the captain's watching over his grandson, and Clement is there taking care of him, the rest of the crew have Olgarin tied to the mast of the ship. What does he say? I can't remember.
All I remember is he kept saying it burns.
Right, but before that,
I
he's
cannot.
saying something, but I don't remember. But he's kind of just going on about whatever. It's fairly nondescript / muttering, kind of like a crazy person, and then clear as day, it burns.
Yeah, and that's because the sun is rising.
The sun is coming up. It burns. It burns. It burns. It burns. And then boom, he combusts.
That was my favorite part of the whole movie, right there.
Olgarin burning to death.
Olgarin burning to death. But at the same time, as he's burning and they're just standing there watching, not doing anything. I'm
Well, yeah,
like,
but what do you do at that point?
well, put the fire out for one. Like, it's a wooden ship.
That's true.
I'm like, you're
but-
just like, oh, my friend, I guess, well, we got to wait for this to die down.
I don't know. After witnessing everything you've witnessed at that point, and you know there's a monster, you know something deeply wrong. You know there is something deeply wrong with Olgarin, and then he just bursts into flames. I'm joining the crew. I am standing there dumbfounded, going, "What is going on? What the hell?"
You do have a point there, but I'm just like, okay, guys, the fire, you know, wooden ship.
They'll be all right.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
You know what? At that point, if the ship had caught fire and sank and they all drowned, it would have been a mercy.
That's true. That's true. Because I don't think Dracula got his wings yet, did he?
Not at that point.
No.
That's something too. So let's jump into Dracula over the course of this movie. It's very Jeepers Creepers. That was something we had talked about while we watched it. Dracula starts out very weak, feeds on the animals, gets stronger, feeds on the people, gets stronger, gets his bat wings and is able to fly. That lets him feed even more. Now his intellect has returned, and he's starting, because now the crew, everyone knows there's a thing, and they're trying to figure out ways to trap him and defeat him. But he's outthought them. They're playing checkers. He's playing chess. It's not even close. And so now not only is he outmaneuvering them, he's outsmarting them. He's overpowering them. And as he feeds and getting stronger, he's growing, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, the whole Jeepers Creepers thing, I definitely get. And I loved when the cook was on the boat
Mm-hmm.
and you hear Dracula flying.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, yeah.
Because it's night, it's the heavy fog, but then you just hear the beating of these huge, heavy wings. And immediately, you just go, oh my God.
Yeah. And I wanted it to be so, so cool. and you hear it, and it just the build up is like, oh my god, this is gonna be so good.
Yeah.
And then he lands on the front of the boat. Is that the stern? I don't know. I'm not a boat guy.
I'd have to look at my notes. You mentioned I wrote a book about pirates, which is true. I
Yeah.
did.
Yes, you did.
Everyone check out Misfortunate Adventures, The Hunt for Blackbeard's Treasure. But knowing I wasn't going to be able to memorize all this, I have notes
Okay.
that I reference when I write.
His book is available on Amazon, by the way.
Amazon and Barnes & Noble, check it out. currently nominated for 3 Best Children's Book Awards. Thank you.
Congratulations, by the
you.
way.
Shameless self-plug over.
But he lands on the front of the boat, and he is so underwhelming.
Yeah.
He just looks like a
big bat.
A big,
hairless,
gray old man, naked.
Bat
You
thing.
know,
Yeah.
if there was bat testicles swinging, I wouldn't have.
Wait, do you think he should just have a huge dang just hanging up?
Huge Dracula dong.
When he's flying, he swoops too low and someone just, boom, catches it in the forehead, knocks him off the ship.
Yes, I would love to see a mushroom tattoo. But
the monster design is a little... Also, I know Dracula can turn into a bat, but his base form, he's fucking Alopecia Man-Bat from Batman?
Alopecia? God. They should have got Jada Pinkett Smith to play this.
Hey!
You
don't
keep
say
your
her
wife's
name.
name out of my...
I like how we're just hot topical references from 2 years ago or whatever, a year and a half, whatever it's been. We have our pulse on the zeitgeist of culture.
Oh, Jesus.
But, like, isn't his base form still human? Am I wrong? This movie gets so many basic things wrong about Dracula that it makes me question how much I actually know about Dracula. Because I'm like, am I wrong? Or is the movie wrong?
Yeah, because I always thought like he was a man who could turn into
Who could turn into a bat.
But this movie, he's a bat.
Even at the end,
Even at the end, he's still yeah. I bet if he took off that stupid hat, that
I'm glad you pointed to the thing on the board and gave no reference to the listening audience about what the hell you're pointing.
It wasn't for them; it was for you.
Oh, okay. No,
But-
I feel like we should talk about it. We're a podcast. We talk about things.
But I feel like if he took off that stupid hat in the bar, he would still have those fucking Batman ears.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
no,
No, because he should be a person.
yes,
Yeah.
because like I told you when we finished watching it, that would have been a perfect spot for Gary Oldman.
Bring Gary Oldman back.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what?
And then transition into
It would help with the continuity.
yes.
But okay, you mentioned when we first see him as has his wings. And again, he's not a vampire human that turns into a bat. He is just a man-sized, hairless bat monstrosity, right? Which I'm pretty sure it's wrong. But he's going after the cook, who is a devout Catholic. I think devout is a
Oh yeah, that's a proper term.
yeah, that's not overstating anything.
No.
And the guy pulls his cross and begins praying on Dracula. And Dracula mocks him and kills him anyway. Except I'm fairly confident that should have fucking worked.
Yeah, in the world of Dracula,
in the world
yes.
of Dracula vampirism. Garlic? Crosses. That works.
Yeah, you can't take a portion out of the Dracula novel and not stay true to the Dracula lore.
Right.
Like, that's fine if you want to come up with your own Dracula take. But no, you can't just take a piece out of this book and throw away everything else and be like, none of that matters.
Because it's like, well, maybe the cook didn't have it in his hand or wasn't holding it, whatever. But then flash forward in the movie where final battle's breaking down, Dracula swoops down to get the captain, who silver chain around his neck, cross in his hand, holding it in front of him at Dracula's face, shouting, "I renounce you, devil," like he's performing an exorcism. That should have worked. I'm not saying the I renounce you devil part should have worked, but the cross of Jesus Christ in Dracula's face should have worked and scared him off.
Should have done something.
Should have done something.
But yeah, he's just like, nope.
So I'm like, wait a minute, this is like a huge, vital part of the story of Dracula. If the cross doesn't work, Van Helsing and Harker are fucked.
Yeah, because what's up with them guys? Like, because this movie does build for a sequel.
Oh, 100%.
And are you just going to disregard Van Helsing in your sequel to Dracula?
And their frequent use of the cross, not just defeat Dracula, but to save their own lives multiple times.
Yeah, so that whole part bothered me.
Should have worked. The cook should have lived, as the captain should have in those moments. But again, that's what I'm saying. So many baseline things, so many basic things about vampires and Dracula specifically this movie gets wrong that it makes me question my own knowledge of vampirism. And I know an oddly large amount about vampirism because I'm a giant nerd.
So the captain dies.
Yeah.
I don't care.
No.
Wolchek dies.
Yep.
I don't care.
No.
The only other one that bites it, besides O'Garrig, that I gave halfway a shit about was Anna, or Anne, or whatever her name was.
Anna, yeah.
When she's floating on that.
Their Titanic moment.
Yeah, their Titanic moment. I actually have in my notes a combination of different movies that this movie takes from. And Titanic was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, you cannot have a man and a woman falling off of a ship, floating in the river or the ocean on a piece of the ship and not have a Titanic reference.
It's Titanic. Yeah.
It's Titanic. But she
also, you, James Cameron. You're a shit filmmaker.
I love you, James Cameron. But when she burns up, that was the only other time I'm like, oh man, that kind of sucks.
Well, and again, so now we're talking about a character we got to know. We get to learn throughout that she has a very tragic backstory because Dracula held dominion over her village. And part of the deal the townspeople made with the Count is that, how once every however long, the village elders would pick a youth and they would send the youth to the castle and was there for Dracula's uses, whatever those may be. And like, that's tragic. And even when she dies, she's like, my life, my parents picked for me, my people picked for me, the devil picked for me. I choose this for myself. And she, because she's infected, is becoming a vampire. And so instead of trying to cure it with more blood transfusions, which they kind of alluded to that being a thing.
Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure that's not how that works. Pretty sure. She's like, no, I would rather just die. And I'd rather die on my own terms. And so she sits on a bit of wreckage. The sun comes up and she burns. It's actually a pretty tragic moment.
Yeah, and I enjoyed that as a movie going experience, like having some sort of feeling for a character. It was a nice moment. It was a nice change from this movie.
From the nothing?
Yes.
From the feeling nothing.
Yeah. Even when Roger Murtaugh bit it and trying to
he was too old for this shit. Okay, so wait a minute. Can we jump back also? I felt something during Toby's burial. So we talked about Toby gets attacked in the captain's quarters. He ends up dying. They wrap him in cloth and they're going to say a quick prayer and dump his body into the ocean. And it's very sad. Liam Cunningham killing it,
Yes. Yeah, he did a great job.
His acting is superb. And all of a sudden, he's like, I saw him move. He's still alive. And everyone's like, Captain, no, you didn't. Like, that's your grief talking. Clement is like, I checked his pulse. His heart is not beating. He's gone. I'm sorry. The captain pushes him away, opens up the cloth. And now we actually see the lifeless face, the gray lifeless face of Toby. And that's kind of hard hitting.
That was a little hard, yeah.
And then you see the captain's face and he's like, I guess I did just see things. And you see the realization that his grandson is dead. And that's hard hitting. And then all of a sudden, Toby's white orb eyes open up and he sits up to attack and feed on his grandfather. Very zombie-esque again. Again, these are
Yes.
vampires, not zombies, but whatever. But it's daylight, and Toby immediately bursts into flames in his grandfather's arms. And so now the grandfather, the captain, has severe burns on his face, his head, his hands.
Oh.
And then they're like, oh, Jesus Christ. And they just freak out. They flip the board that Toby was laying on over and in an act of emergency, dump his ass into the ocean, where we now see the charred, flaky, burned up second remains of Toby. Toby died. Toby's a 10-year-old boy. He died twice in this movie. He died twice.
Yeah, and he should have died once from the crate. But
So the 10-year-old boy had a near-death experience, a death experience, an undeath experience, and then a re-death experience.
And then a drowning. Yeah.
Movie makers, we get it. You're trying. It's like it's the dog all over again. I don't know this kid.
Like, did you feel bad when Toby died?
Yeah.
How about this time? How about when he dies this time? How about when he drowns?
So the first, when he actually died, I was like, well, we all saw this coming, because again, we're already told in the beginning of the movie when they find the ship that no one is on board. The entire crew is gone. Toby is a member of that crew. You don't have to be Stephen Hawking to figure out he's probably going to eat it at some point.
Yeah.
He's going to bite the dust. So when he dies, it's not surprising, but there's that initial, it's like the dog. It's like, oh man, the dog died. Oh, well, the kid died. Well, I didn't really know this kid, so I don't really care, but there's still that innate gut punch, I guess, of, a kid died. Then it happens, I guess. Vampires, real bastards, going after our children and whatnot. And then I was genuinely surprised when the second time, when Toby just pops up, latches onto his grandfather, and then immediately bursts into flames. Like, a lot happens in quick succession. And I was surprised, but that was the only feeling I had. Then they dump the body overboard, and we get a close-up of his charred, burnt-up face as it's flaking off in the water, and he sinks to the depths. And I'm going, this is unnecessary, because no one cares. Stop trying to force me to care about your characters in this movie. If you wanted me to care, you should have done it organically in a better way.
I agree.
Like, the only emotion this movie has is real, like, forced and heavy-handed, and it doesn't work.
No, not at all.
Okay, so Clemens ultimately makes it to shore. He's the sole survivor. His little piece of debris either makes it to land, or he's rescued, or whatever. And he takes it upon himself with his fashionable goatee now. That's how you know he's serious. He has a fashionable goatee.
Maybe that's just his evil twin.
Ah.
Star Trek reference.
I thought it was a South Park reference.
Yeah. It's a South Park Star Trek reference.
Reference. Yeah. God, I'm not looking forward to Star Trek. Anywho, I'm just not. But now Clement is taking upon himself. He is in London. He knows that the monster's stuff was delivered to Carfax Abbey. So now he knows he needs to go to Carfax Abbey, and he's made it his personal mission to end this bullshit. And he's going to end Dracula.
He ain't going to do shit.
There's a problem with this, though, because this chapter, this whole movie was taken out of a small chapter in the literary classic Dracula, where Clement is not a fucking character outside of being possibly referenced within the captain's logs of the Demeter chapter, and plays zero part in the hunting down or death of Dracula. Has nothing to do with anything. And now I feel like he's just being shoehorned in. He should have fucking died with everyone else, and that be it.
I hope they make a sequel to this, and the first scene is him dying.
If that's the payoff, I rescind everything I said. I would be so okay with that.
Yeah.
Because again,
that needs to happen.
You can't make a movie literally drawn out of the text of a book and ignore the source material you took it from. That's not how any of this works. It's not like the story was inspired by or based on. You took it out of it's one of the chapters. What are you doing? Clement isn't in the book. He does nothing because he died on the boat. So no, if we get a sequel, I'll probably watch it at this point. And if it opens up with Clement like uncovering things and is like about, figuring it out and then just eats it, I'd be fine. That would be cool.
I think he just needs to die like randomly, like gets hit by a bus.
Yes, a bus in 18 whatever.
That would make it so much better.
The goddamn Doc and Marty on their not the DeLorean, the full train time machine just runs his ass down, and they're like, that fixes the timeline, and they leave.
They make a time machine out of the double-decker buses in London.
To avoid suspicion.
Yes, exactly.
Just run him down. Okay, so goddamn, we gotta wrap this up.
Yeah.
I have other things I want to cover, but we've got to wrap it up. Other things we could talk about, but long story short, we're just gonna be treading the same ground. Final takeaways of the last voyage of the Demeter.
I am so angry. I am so angry.
I am filled with a white hot rage.
God, I wanted to like this movie so badly. I went into this with Alien expectations, and I got Alien Resurrection.
I was waiting for that. As soon as you said what I got I was like, here comes Alien Resurrection.
I wanted this to just be a suspense-filled, scary, even jump scares. I know jump scares are kind of cheap.
Lame.
Yeah. But some of them work.
Terrifying.
Yeah, that scared me more than this whole
Speaking of
damn
jump
movie.
scares, the goddamn furnace kicked on.
My air conditioner kicks on, and that scared me more than this damn movie did. But no, I wanted to be... Have you ever seen The Barbarian? Probably not, since you're not a horror movie guy.
No.
That was a fairly recent horror movie that came out, I think, in 2019, 2020.
Is it a period piece?
No.
Okay. Is it about a large man in a loincloth and an axe?
No, unfortunately
I'm
not.
losing interest in this movie.
It's been a while since I've been genuinely scared by a movie.
Mm-hmm.
That movie did it. This movie did not. I cared absolutely all dick for these characters.
All dick.
All giant mushroom tattoo on your forehead, dick.
From the man bat.
From the man
with
bat.
alopecia.
But no, this movie is not good. Definitely not worth the ticket price at all. Skip it.
I agree. We didn't even talk. We've ran out of time. We didn't even talk about the ending. The one thing we both liked. So you know what? Go on YouTube. Find a clip of the ending. That's kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
Kinda.
The one part it's kind of cool. That's it though. I was so excited. The trailers. I'll go back and rewatch the trailer of this movie because it's better than the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
And is this worth a watch? Should you hunt it down? Should you rent it? Should you buy it? Is it worth the ticket price? No, it's just not. And it's such a bummer. And my takeaway is don't get excited about things. You'll only be let down.
I feel like you've said that a lot on this pod.
Maybe, but I feel up until now, because this is our first genuine new movie, I've had an idea of what I'm getting into. Sometimes I've been right. Sometimes I've been wrong. Sometimes I still feel like with Raiders, I still feel the way I feel about it, but I admit that it's a good movie, even though I admit that people should see it, even though I don't like it, right? No, I was excited for this, and it's a turd. Just an absolute undead turd that doesn't follow its own rules about the monster. It doesn't adhere to the lore and the source material that it's literally a part of. It's so bad. So I got nothing else. I'm Jake. That's Tevis. We're Ticket Price. We're disappointed. But hey, our podcast is now officially doing a service to the audience. Avoid this movie. It's so bad. But with that being said, hey, check us out next week.
Oh, this
For
is gonna be so
Halloween.
fun.
For Halloween week, we've got a special treat in store that will actually be fun and enjoyable, unlike the special treat we thought the Last Voyage of the Demeter would be. Remember when we were excited? We thought this was going to be a cool treat for everyone, and it's not, and it just makes me hate everything.
Yeah, it's that treat that you get on the front porch that's on fire.
In a bag.
In a bag.
You got to stomp it out.
Yeah.
I really got to quit doing that barefoot, by the way. But
So
no.
what are we doing?
All right. So for Halloween week, we are doing a movie showdown. This is a series that we've been talking about doing, and we're going to finally pull the trigger on the first one. We will be looking at the original John Carpenter's Halloween as it enters the Thunderdome and goes head-to-head with Rob Zombie's Halloween reboot. Original versus remake. 2 movies enter, 1 movie leaves. This isn't just, is it good, bad, or indifferent? This isn't, is it worth the ticket price? It's about definitively which is better and which gets murdered by an oversized knife on an ironically named thing. What are they called? Not celebrations. What the hell is it called? Holidays. That's holidays. If all of a sudden there's this huge cut and it's just me just now triumphantly shouting the word holiday, it's because I forgot the word for like 2 minutes, and I tried real hard to save it, and I failed. Like the Last Voyage of Demeter, I failed so hard. But 2 movies enter, 1 movie leads. Shut up, Tim. You're making this extra difficult for me, man. I'm dying. I'm drowning like Toby. Oh, I'm drowning like Toby. No. Movie showdown, remake versus classic, head-to-head. Which is better? Check us out. I'm going to stop talking now before I screw something else up.
I can tell I'm getting older because it's harder to control your bladder.
Well, that was just a smidge more than we needed to know. All right, everyone. Pee Pants is Tevis. I'm Jake. I don't know words like holiday. And we look forward to seeing you next week for the Halloween episode. Good night.